Well, it's been a long time coming, folks, but finally, Tesla Robotaxis are about to launch. They're targeting June this year in Austin, Texas for the launch of their fleet. Today, Cathie Wood of ARK Invest sharing her thoughts on the impacts of autonomy as part of the Big Ideas 2025 presentation. But before we get to Cathie's thoughts, I wanted to share this post I found on X a couple of days ago from some guy who wrote, around June 2025, Tesla will launch Robotaxi service in Austin, and Tesla has more affordable vehicles which will be ramping production. He then points out that in March 2025, which, if I'm doing my math right, is roughly 3 months before June 2025, Tesla has a market capitalization of around $850 billion, and the current narrative is Elon bad to the power of infinity. He then writes, GOAT setup. So let's try and figure out exactly what that guy meant when he says GOAT setup. I guess he must be talking about Tesla stock because he mentioned the market cap, maybe the potential impact of autonomy and the more affordable vehicles. And just looking at this, well, that's fascinating, isn't it? Over a 4-year period, Tesla stock is actually down by about 5%. 4 years is a long time for a growth company. And if memory serves, I think that they've furthered their already unassailable leads in terms of electric vehicles. World's best-selling vehicle by far, Model Y. And again, those new, more affordable vehicles, which, obviously will sell more units per year than today's best-selling vehicle, the Model Y, because they'll be much more affordable and almost as compelling. They've been killing it with their energy business, further extending their lead in terms of autonomy, the AI flywheel, with the data collection, massive progress on humanoid robots, yet the stock has gone nowhere for nearly half a decade. GOAT setup, he says. I get it. I know what he means. I know, but I won't say it. As we can see on screen now, this is not the first time that Tesla's stock has essentially gone nowhere for roughly half a decade. We can see this, right? From early March 2014 to May 2019, over 5 years, the stock was down about 25%. And, well, we all know what happened after that, right? 3,201% in the blink of an eye. I guess if this guy who posted on X recently had been making content about Tesla, he might have suggested that 2019 was a GOAT setup. By the way, what happened here? Well, people realized, Tesla's actually going to make money, and not only a little bit of money, but a fuckload of money selling electric vehicles. The competition is coming, but not for Tesla. Instead, embarrassingly fast and all over themselves. So, GOAT setup, round 2.
Tasha Keeney has done this analysis, very well known for it as well. You can see the cost per mile of different forms of travel. So human-driven ride hail, so think Uber, says $2 here. In some cities in the US, it's not $2, it's $3 or $4. It's gotten crazy. Personal car is $1.10. That includes depreciation, insurance, all in.
So let's just take a quick moment here. There's typically 2 reasons people will use human-driven ride hail as opposed to the personal car. Either one, they don't own a personal car, or more likely, they do, but it's more convenient and or more legal, e.g. they've been drinking, or who knows what else. So if we were to group these, human-driven ride hail and personal car ownership, the cost per mile, the reason people use these are either convenience and or necessity, e.g. you're drinking, you don't want to drive drunk, or alternatively, maybe you just drive everywhere because you can't afford to be using human-driven ride hail. It's too expensive. Convenience, cost, and necessity. We're about to see a truly enormous disruption whereby the cost to use a robotaxi is significantly cheaper than both personal vehicle ownership and way cheaper than human-driven ride hail. People are not ready for this disruption. If households can forego personal vehicle ownership, yet sacrifice zero of the convenience of owning a car, e.g. robotaxis are everywhere, you can hail one, it'll turn up almost instantly, and you don't need to then park your car in a garage, you don't need that physical space, extra real estate, the cost of your home. Don't need to worry about parking, going to and from, because the robotaxi can pick you up, drop you off, door to door. Both human-driven ride hail and personal car ownership are both going to be flipped upside down and see a collapse in usage/demand. People are not ready for this, but it's just around the corner.
Per mile. Human-driven ride hail in China today is 35 cents, and we expect in 2035, 25 cents for global robotaxis. Now, it's interesting. Many people ask us, where is this going to take off geographically? You can see the need is much more in the developed world where labor costs are so high. And as Thomas mentioned, we have We have commercialized here in the US and in places in China, Waymo, and we'll get into that in a moment. Actually, no, we'll get into it right now. If anyone has had any experience with Waymo, a Waymo ride in San Francisco, Los Angeles, there are a number of places in the United States. Uh, People come away marveling. Now they're geo-fenced and they are not safer than human-driven, which I'll get to in a minute. And so we've been wondering, okay, does Waymo slash Alphabet have this market? This slide would say no. As you can see, what the cost of a Waymo 6th generation at scale, that's the third bar there. You can see that depreciation is still very high, right? And you can see it versus the 5th generation and the Model 3. You can see what Cybercab is going to be. And the lower cost, because it's vertically integrated, not dependent on other auto manufacturers, and because it's streamlined the technology and voted against LiDAR almost from the get-go, has taken the capital cost down significantly to relative to where we believe Waymo will be.
Yeah, short story, Tesla has a massive cost advantage here. I think even a dumbass could figure out which company is going to win over the long run, assuming all other things were equal. Yet company A has a much higher cost and company B, Tesla, has a 30 to 40% lower cost. This means that company B, Tesla, can offer their service for a 30 to 40% lower cost. And if everything else is equal, most consumers don't give a flying fuck which company's Robotaxi they're using. They care about how much does it cost if all other things are equal. What's quite remarkable is that ARC's estimates for the 6th generation Waymo vehicles at scale, just the cost of depreciation, is almost identical to Cybercab's at scale. Another way to look at this, vehicles per $5 billion of capital expenditure. E.g., how many vehicles can these companies put on roads for the same money? And as we can see on screen, it's over. There's a lot of different tangents we can go on about Tesla's data, the safety profile. They're going to win on many things. But we can put all of that stuff to the side. If this is the only thing you know, Tesla has a massive cost advantage for putting cybercabs, autonomous vehicles, robotaxis on roads versus their, quote, biggest competitor, Waymo. And we also know Tesla has a history of driving their costs down as fast as they can because it's directly in line with their mission. We know they're going to do the exact same thing with their cost per mile on their robotaxis as they've done with their vehicles. Drive costs down as fast as possible, sell more. We know how this one ends, and it's not pretty for Waymo or any other company trying to compete with Tesla, especially in developed nations with autonomy.
So you can see here that for every $5 billion on the right-hand side, $5 billion in CapEx, Waymo slash Hyundai would be able to produce a little less than 100,000 vehicles, whereas the cybercabs, Tesla could produce more than 300,000.
I actually just want to add some additional context. Maybe Cathie's going to mention it, but we also know that Tesla has developed a new manufacturing system specifically for Cybercab. They call it the unboxed system. It's specifically designed to not only allow Tesla to produce these much more affordably, e.g. cheaper, which is important, but also, and this is also extremely important, for a much smaller factory footprint and at a much faster rate. So not only can Tesla produce Cybercabs for a fraction the cost of what Waymo can put an equivalent-ish robotaxi on roads for, but they can produce them much faster, and this actually really matters. I suspect that Tesla is going to crank production on cybercabs, saturate one city, then move on to the next and the next and the next and the next and the next. Make these as fast as fucking possible. And if Tesla cybercabs are ubiquitous in a single city, they own the market, what's the point of Waymo even trying to enter that market when Tesla's already dominating, already at scale, already has an extremely competitive cost per mile, and wait times of a minute or two, maybe 3 minutes at most? Why bother? You shouldn't.
3 to 4 times as many. And so low cost of production is going to be key to success in this winner take most market. And we do believe it is winner take most, as many AI projects are.
Of course, ARK Invest and Cathie Wood could be wrong. Maybe it's not winner take most. But if it is winner take most, what they're really referring to here is most of the profits. A good example would be Apple doesn't sell the majority of smartphones technically, but they do make most of the profits selling smartphones. As that guy on X said earlier, GOAT setup.
We think this is the AI project out there with the biggest revenue generating potential in the next 5 years, $8 to $10 trillion globally, everywhere, all parts of the ecosystem.
Hi, it's me again, interrupting again because I couldn't not. You notice how she just pointed out that they believe that this is the biggest AI opportunity over the next 5 years in terms of revenue, as in ka-ching, yeah? Whole world is frothing. Everyone's so excited, completely barred up over AI right now, right? Not quite mania, but certainly people are very excited. AI this, AI that, AI. But based on Tesla's current valuation, the consensus opinion seems to be that either autonomy isn't the biggest AI opportunity over the next 5 years, or autonomy isn't a winner-takes-most market, and or Tesla is not in a dominant position, set to be the company that takes the lion's share. Once again, GOAT setup.
With the platforms like Tesla getting half of that. And I know later on we'll go towards what we believe is the most profound application of AI. But before I do that, this is where we are in terms of autonomous relative to human performance. And you can see how quickly, again, this is AI, how quickly things are changing. You can see that by this month, roughly, and these expectations, I think, are still in place, that Tesla will is going to have a critical incident or critical intervention every 10,000 miles, which is 16,000 kilometers for those of you on that system around the world, which is, at least in the US, 1 year's worth of driving. But by the end of this year, that number will go to 700,000, or a little past 700,000, which is the national average human accident rate in the US. So safer than human driving. You can see that Waymo has done very well at 400,000 miles per intervention, and kudos to it. It's gone a long way. But by the end of this year, we think Tesla will outperform Waymo pretty significantly.
And approximately 0 people believe this. Now, look, maybe the timing's off by a few months or quarters or even a year or two. But at some point, Tesla Robotaxis are going to be safer than humans as measured by critical accidents per mile, right? And we've seen a history of AI, its capabilities seeming to just plod along in an almost linear fashion, then suddenly go vertical. That's the barrier. That's the breakthrough moment. Like Tesla has data to demonstrate that their robotaxis are safer than human drivers. You now have a product that's meaningfully more affordable, at least as convenient, and safer, better, cheaper, safer. That's where we get the massive disruption.
And then finally, this is going to create, as I mentioned, the $10 trillion market. And you can see it will happen, as always, as costs come down. You know, the history of technology is studying those learning curves, which are expressed in cost declines, which are passed through to price declines, which expand markets enormously. And that is what we expect from this market.
In today's episode of Obvious Things Are Obvious, obviously, the lower cost per mile, the more people can afford to and will use robotaxis. ARK Invest believe that ride-hail could be a $10 trillion market, and they also believe that this is a winner-takes-most opportunity. And just to underscore, in ARK Invest Big Ideas 2025 presentation, they specifically highlighted the massive cost advantage Tesla has over the supposed leader in terms of autonomy today, Waymo. And a cost advantage allows more competitive pricing per mile, means bigger opportunity and winner takes most and $10 trillion market. In conclusion, GOAT setup. Want more content? Early access? Bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 is awesome. I've been taking it daily now for more than 3 years. It's a great way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's packed full of vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus has prebiotics, probiotics, and adaptogens to improve gut health, regularity, and help your body handle stress. I'm always looking for an edge to help me feel and perform my best, which is why I haven't missed a day of AG1 for more than 3 years. Just try it and see how you feel. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs. This is what viewers of the channel had to say after trying AG1. I feel like I have a lot more energy since I started on AG1. Just got my AG1 in the mail. Legit feeling the effects after day 3. 3 months ago, I started AG1 and have been enjoying the evenness of alertness and energy that lasts the day. I just started the wife on it too. Are you convinced yet? I mean, hey, it's worth trying, right? Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR, or I can keep going. This viewer, after about a month on AG1, definitely a lack of fatigue in the afternoon. Pleasant side effect is that my coffee intake has imploded and is almost down to 0. One more? Yeah, why not? I honestly feel younger and will be continuing to use AG1. This stuff really is crazy good. I didn't think it would be, but this stuff is awesome. It really is what everyone is saying. One more? Don't mind if I do. I've just received my 3rd month supply. I've drank it every day. I have so much energy throughout most of the day. I'm productive, started a new business, started socializing, refurbished a boat. It's no coincidence. Thank you for your persistence, your integrity, and your insights. Now look, these are not my words. These are not my testimonials. This is what you guys and girls are saying. Maybe it's 100% placebo effect. But even if that's the case, I think it's money well spent. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs.